Hello, and welcome to another podcast, Chicago Beer Geeks. This is episode number 3. I am Dan.
Mez.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Bob.
Bobby.
Bob is here filling in for Allie.
Yeah.
She couldn't make it today. And this is his place. We've been filming that the last 3.
I'm normally off the side opening beers,
Feel free to get close to him.
but
Yeah, sure.
I will do that on camera this time.
I love the opener too. It's a fantastic beer bottle opener there.
Yes.
This was a gift from a friend. Ordered it from a place called Blood Bath and Beyond. So
Excellent.
Fantastic.
What is this that we're drinking right now to start off with? I forget what this is.
Pipeworks Attack of the Devil's Lettuce. We start with something with a little bit of coffee in it. It's an IPA with coffee.
Coffee.
Got to be awake.
It is tasty. So, last time, if you watched our episode 2, we were talking quite a bit about Darkness Day. And since then, Bob and myself went to Darkness Day this year, which was phenomenal. We headed out there. We had our canopy set up. Had the Chicago Beer Geeks banner. A lot of people came by to share beers with us. This year's Darkness is definitely better than last year's, the beer itself.
Thank you for offering me lots of beers. I know I didn't turn any of you down. I probably drank a little too much on that one, but
Yes, and we did find out some
enjoyable.
people that we met out there have seen our podcast, so keep watching. Again, if you're listening to us on iTunes, I'd say check out the video on YouTube, youtube.com/Chicago Beer Geeks. We have podcasts. We have a couple other random things out there. We also have a lost episode of our head-to-head, which we did with
With Marty Nachel.
Marty Nachel.
Marty Nachel of the Beer for Dummies College of DuPage, where apparently you can get a certificate in beer. Yeah,
Nice.
he teaches continuing education classes at COD.
Excellent. So yeah, we have lost episode where we did a comparison, and some episodes before that are on there. Those have really horrible sound, so please deal with it if you're watching those. Of course, I do have a glass for this. What is this we're handing out already, Bob?
So, figured today we're going to talk over some Chicago beers. And to start, Revolution just recently released their Batch 1000. They had a nice release party at the brewery. They had 6 different variants, 2 of which they actually bottled, the Markland and the Helluland. First one we're opening up is the Markland with cacao and vanilla, bourbon barrel, brown ale. So.
Yeah.
Imperial.
Next one will be the Helluland, which is with orange zest. So,
Orange, I like orange. Anything orange is usually tasty. Orange slices.
yep.
Real orange. Fake orange. Whatever. But yeah, Darkness Day was great. We had a lot of people give us beers. The only downside to it is we did have some of our beers stolen. As we slept overnight.
Amateur mistake on our part.
Yeah.
You would not expect it. It's been reported in years before. It would have been easy to prevent, but
Yeah, so when we slept, the cooler was out. Pretty much they went into the cooler and just grabbed everything with wax. One of them being a barrel-aged Darkness. One of them being barrel-aged Abyss.
2014 Darkness, a Behemoth.
Yeah. Abyss. I forget, there was 1 or 2 others. I thought
It
it
was the
years.
Cognac Abyss, 2015 Darkness, 2015 Barrel-Aged Darkness, 2014 Darkness, and Behemoth,
Yeah.
2016
I'm
Behemoth.
sure you guys assumed that you just would have drank them all the night before, right?
That's what I mean. That's the amateur mistake. We should have drank them the night before,
Yeah.
and someone was like,
I mean, we did
"Why
have a
didn't
lot
you
of
drink
people. We had
these?"
some crazy Canadians come by.
Winnipeg,
Gave us some great
all from
beers
Winnipeg,
that
representing.
I had never even heard of before.
Yeah, I had one a chocolate stout named I think it was Mephisto, or something like that.
There was Thor's Hammer. There was,
Yeah.
I forget what all of them were.
Introduced a new game called Hammerschlagen.
Hammerschlagen. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Yes.
And everybody was playing it.
You have to,
Wood.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
the cozy
well, it
one.
was
Start
tree
from the beginning. Start from
stumps.
the beginning for us, if you
So
want.
there's tree stumps, and I guess you could use a block of wood, but it's not as
Visually
Northwoods
appealing.
Canadian, yeah. So people brought gigantic, like 150-pound tree stumps, and you put a nail in, and you go around, and first person to hammer their nail all the way in wins. If you knock your nail out of alignment, you got to use your turn to straighten it. But needless to say, slow and steady win the race. So I lost every round of that, but it was enjoyable.
You were pretty toasty by that time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And we did have Omar, the owner of Surly. He came by. saw our canopy with the Chicago Beer Geeks, said hi to us, chatted for a little bit. So if Omar happens to see this, thanks for stopping by, Omar. We love your beer. A few other things happened with Surly recently that there's rumors out there. I mean, Todd, the head brewer.
Oh, that's not a rumor.
That's not a rumor. But the next thing is, so there's rumors that they might be selling.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not true. But yeah, Todd has gone to Three Floyds. So have you heard anything on this front, Nick, besides what's been out there?
No, but I guess that's to be expected, right? Like they moved into this destination brewery in Minneapolis proper, right? They're in cans, they've got a huge following. It kind of makes sense. A lot of people grow just to sell. That's what the crew out in California that sold to Goose Island, that's what they did. They built it up with the intention of selling. So
yeah,
I mean, it kind of makes sense,
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, there's all the rumors after the one picture that Omar posted.
Golden Road. That's what the crew
on Twitter. About people are thinking that they're going to sell the Miller. So hopefully they don't, because I mean, although it could be something where if they sell out, they just still run it as completely independent, kind of like Goose Island has, where they've taken a lot of the Goose Island beers that are their generics and kind of pawn those off.
Would you still drink their beer if they sold?
If they still made the same beer in a good quality, I think I would. I mean, I still drink Goose Island, Bourbon County, and stuff like that. The better beers.
Well, you got a Goose Island Clybourne still does some amazing stuff.
Yep.
And you just hope that whoever's left there still has the freedom and capacity to still be able to do those type of experimental
beers.
Yeah,
Beers, yes.
Yeah, beers.
But on
what's the name of this again?
On the scale that you can get it out to a decent number of people, though, too, instead of just having a very small one. That's key.
It's definitely key getting the beers out to the market, and that's one of the big reasons they would sell is they want their beer at a bigger market.
Safety
also, I'm
standards.
sure they get offered a ton of cash.
I mean, somebody rolls up with, rolls the Brinks truck up. Your objectivity kind of goes to the side.
Yeah.
What do you do when somebody offers you, like with Goose, it was $40 million, or in the case of Ballast Point, it was the Billionaire Boys Club. They offered them $1 billion for what started as a homebrew shop.
Yeah, and that's how Surly started too, as a homebrew as well. Yeah. So this revolution is phenomenal.
So I figured that's why I opened another one. I figured we needed to do the side-by-side comparison. This is the Helluland with the orange zest. So I was like, that was too delicious.
It's already gone?
Oh, man, that's...
No, we're not done with the Markland.
So these
the orange is very prominent.
Wow.
Over the top orange.
It smells great.
It does smell delicious.
So these were named after like some explorer that ended up in around the year 1000, traveled here or something like that.
I want to say I like the orange better.
Yeah,
I just love orange.
Great.
I bought fewer of the orange bottles of the Helluland just because I didn't think it would age as well. But now that I
Have it?
took a sip of this, wow.
It is. I mean, they're both phenomenal.
Yeah.
But the first one actually kind of almost reminds me a little more of a barley wine taste.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a barley wine, obviously. It's the bourbon that's kind of coming in there and giving that strong flavor.
This orange one reminds me of Grand Marnier.
There you go. Yeah.
It's nice.
Solid.
It's great. So yeah, that's Darkness Day this year, and there's also no expectations of one next year. But apparently Omar says that every year, so we'll have to wait and see till next year.
Well, I'd say the past 2 years.
Yeah.
That it's the last year.
He's sold it, or said that. I think I read something that he wants to have it at the brewery. It's the destination brewery, the brew pub, and everything. And unfortunately, the laws won't allow it right now.
They did get one law changed already, so is there a Surly Law Part 2? Who knows? But until then, there probably would not be another Darkness Day.
Yeah, so...
Did you guys make it to any other breweries, or Darkness was the...
Darkness was it. Yeah, we camped out there. We got there about 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So about an hour after they started letting people in, and just camped the entire night. And it was... That's really...
Camped, drank,
and drank, whatever. That's the main appeal to it, I think.
Yeah.
The next day when you go and you get to have all their beers...
The cherry on top.
It's great, but yeah.
If you go to their actual destination brew pub, there will be more beers on tap than there are at the actual Darkness Day event.
Yeah.
The entire draw is the bottle sharing the atmosphere of the night before and hanging out and meeting people.
Although I will say we've had some fair share of meeting some interesting people that we might not have wanted to hang out with.
Oh yes,
but
the time that the three of us went.
Yeah, but some great stories nonetheless. I must say. So all in all,
there were some crazy lady that Nick got us next to in line.
That's right. The one she was going to pay for her child's college funding through the bottles.
Exactly. I don't know how that's...
If you're out there, I would really love to know how that investment strategy is going. If you can send us an update.
Better than a 401k, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Revolution is awesome. Revolution, probably, it is my favorite Chicago brewery, without a doubt. I don't know where it stacks up in your Chicago brewery list, but it's my number one for sure.
I'm more of a Finch guy myself. No, I'm joking.
Although
it's a small table here, Nick. I can only hold them off for so long.
Finch did have a solid sour at the beer HOPTACULAR.
Yeah,
did like that.
Yeah, HOPTACULAR was just last weekend. Was it beer HOPTACULAR?
That was last weekend.
And that was skipped a year, right?
Yeah. So they apparently the first 5 were with Jam Productions. And then it took a year off. Jam Productions sold the rights to Lou Dog Events. Lou Dog's a crew that does Chicago Ale Fest, Brew Year's Eve, Naperville Ale Fest. That crew.
Yeah, Jam Productions actually had a lot of backlash from artists and people in the industry, that the music industry recently, local at least, because of the way they treat their crew, the stage crew.
I second that.
So I'm fully behind the stagehand crew, as a lot of people in the industry is. So as you know, if you read any of my stuff sometimes I mention that I DJ and also do some band promotion. So I know Jam Productions, they've always put on a lot of great shows, but I know they had, I don't know, do you know what happened to that? Did anything ever come of that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so just so it's good to see it in different hands, I think, personally. Because Lou Dog, they're specifically into beer as well.
Yeah, I think I think Josh is like a retired banker.
Yeah.
His wife actually teaches at College of DuPage. That's how they made the connection with Marty, so that they could teach the adult courses out there for beer. Certificate of beer.
Yeah. So you guys went to that, both of you?
I went to that.
I was there from 9 to noon. I did the homebrew piece. I was one of the homebrew judges. But then I left at noon, so I didn't get to hang out, which kind of bummed me out.
I arrived at 1, left I think around 5.
Remember it?
I don't remember leaving.
Which is in part how I think that's in part how our website started, because we go to these parties and we wouldn't remember shit.
It was supposed to be 20 beers, and there was only one person that actually marked the badge, and that was when I got this like Scotch beer mixed drink, and that was the only mark. But otherwise, it was pretty much unlimited beer. It may or may not have had a few too many, but for the most part, there was solid representation of a lot of breweries there, but I would say the offerings there, one of the worst that comes to mind, Sam Adams was there with their Boston Lager and their Winter Lager. Whoop-de-frickin-do.
Yeah.
They're like, even Founders, and I absolutely love Founders, and they're 2 really solid beers, but like the festival aspect of it, you want more variety. You want to try something new. And they were there with their breakfast stout and PC pills. Now Cahoots, they were there with Warm Fuzzy, which was like, it was almost like a barley wine and maple syrup and something else. Cahoots Brewery. There were some unique things there. There were some solid. I said Finch had a good sour that was there. But for the most part, it was a mass gathering of common beers, and I would have liked to have seen a little more variety.
That are the smaller festivals kind of are. So I would have expected more from Beer HOPTACULAR, meaning that they kind of started up originally when the craft beer craze kind of started hitting Chicago pretty good. They weren't far behind, so I would have expected a little more from them. I know there's a lot of generic festivals out there that are specifically just a mass gathering of beers, and they're all the standards. Yeah,
for the most part, everybody had 2. There were a couple that would tap special things, like Pipeworks, and I was really kind of upset that I wasn't in the second group. I was part of the first one for that day because they were tapping their Double Creature feature, the collaboration with Toppling Goliath, in the afternoon. I didn't get to try it, but that would have been pretty awesome. The Lagunitas, I'd say, had the biggest representation in back. They had, I think, probably about 10 beers, and they had some pretty solid ones there that are not normally available.
I noticed all the glassware was branded with Lagunitas, and so were the lanyards they gave me.
I may or may not have dropped mine on the way home, but
I know some people were a little weirded out, like pouring their beer. They're like, "Oh, great, I got to pour my beer that is not a Lagunitas beer into this Lagunitas glass."
Yeah,
they weren't happy about that, and you'll see that with nonprofit events sometimes. But for a for-profit event, it's not typical.
Well, I've seen it with I think the Naperville Beer Ale Fest or Naperville Ale Fest. Remember, you had too much to drink. The Naperville Ale Fest, the beer fest. Yes, pour me more beer. They do the lanyards, so their lanyards have a sponsor on them. So there'll be some brewery, but they don't do it for the glasses they give you.
Yeah.
Which I think is a better way, because I could definitely see a brewer that's there for the festival not wanting to have somebody else's brewery name, even though most of these breweries they all get along fine. It's not a big thing. What do you think of the homebrew part of it, Nick?
It was cool. I think I was surprised at the sheer number of homebrews in the area. Apparently, there are 19 different homebrew groups, which I wasn't aware of. I think the top three were a crew called Abnormal 19. There was Pale, and then there was Chaos. So they all got the same kit. I think the three we picked, no particular order. One was a blood orange and grapefruit Radler. One was a Scottish Export, and one was an American Pale Ale. They were all really nicely done. There were some that we had inconsistency. We didn't all agree on. For example, like there was a Hellas with honey that some of us liked. Some of us thought was undercarbonated. There was a sweet potato maple porter that half the group got excited about. The other half was like, yeah, but is it as good as this dry hop sour? The only ones we consistently agreed on were those three. I was surprised by the Radler because you can go, if you put blood orange and grapefruit in a Radler, you can lose balance quick. Grapefruit can be really tart.
Yep.
So, but it was really well done. You could taste like everything all at once, which was nice.
So. I do got to add, I did meet one of your homebrew tasting judge counterparts there as well, Gerald O'Kennard from tastings.com. Extremely nice guy, so he's
super cool.
Gotta give a shout out to him as well.
So there was Steve Hamburg with Chicago Beer Society. There was a lady who's she's a Cicerone and she's a rep for Bell's. Then there's Marty Nachel and a couple of old school guys like BJCP guys there. So that was cool. What they did. What Josh did differently this year with the homebrew competition was that you get this loving cup, that cup that's got two handles on it, and it'll travel every year. So the homebrew club that wins it, they get their name engraved, and then whoever wins next year, kind of Stanley Cup style, each club, whoever wins it will get to keep it for a year.
That's cool.
So that's cool. Yeah, I know Josh does some pretty good events. So cheers to those guys.
Excellent. And so the big event was just this past weekend. We're filming this on Sunday. I don't even know what day it is, to tell you the truth.
Well, it was this weekend.
This weekend was FOBAB, and I know I didn't get a chance to go. I don't think, Jason, you got a chance to go this year. But both you guys, Nick and Bob, you guys both hit up FOBAB, which is probably, in my mind, the best event in Chicago all year.
Yeah, I think I'm partial to beer under glass just because I like being outdoors. I like the space, but definitely the most anticipated, I would say, is probably FOBAB.
Yeah, and that's one that people bring out the absolute best. I mean, it was amazing. I want to say there was over 90 breweries, something like 300 some odd unique beers there, and very few of them have actually seen bottles. So you get to try a lot of unique stuff.
This was your first one, right?
This was my first one.
And you don't remember how you got home with that either?
No, I remember coming home that night. I don't remember. Yesterday pretty much didn't exist.
Bob remembers everything when he gets cherry popped. Okay. So.
Yeah. No, but it was a good time. And speaking of which, I'm actually going to grab some new cups because we do have one of the silver medal winners from Half Acre, Oren. This was at FOBAB, and they. Half Acre won a silver medal, so congratulations. There were a lot of Chicago breweries out that won there. So I'm gonna get some new glasses, and we will continue talking about FOBAB.
Yeah, Dos Fredonia. FOBAB's they've got 9 categories: silver medal, silver, bronze, and gold. 11
this year, yeah.
Silver. The top 3 in each one. But then their best of show is weird because there's a best of show and then there's a runner up, and that's it. Yeah. So I know Dos Fidonia, which was in rye barrels from Distill, was runner up this year. And there's a brewery that I hadn't heard of before that was that took Best in Show this year. I'll pull that up while we're getting beer.
Yeah. So what else? What were some of your top ones at FOBAB, Bob? Do you remember them?
I do. For the most part, Goose Island Clybourne, I did, one of the first beers that I went to was their Ground Control, because I know they're releasing that later this week at the brewery.
And they are now part of AB, aren't they?
Well, there was a separate Goose Island booth that actually had a pretty long line. I did get to try the 2014 Prop, 2016 Barley Wine, and the 2016 Coffee there.
But Clybourne
which
itself,
were all pretty
I
solid.
know it wasn't originally part of the merger
Yeah.
or acquisition, but it became, I think it was last year.
Listerman and Triple Digit Brew, both from Cincinnati. Best in Show for Chicao.
There was a New Belgium sour there called, it was like Oscar, OSKR, that I thought was very, very, very solid. Jester King had some representation there that was very good as well in the sour category.
Yeah, nice.
The Revolution Smoked, which also, I believe it was a bronze that one won, was really good.
I thought you didn't like smoked beers.
It's good beer. It's good beer. I didn't think it was too smoky. There's one smoked beer that I don't like, which I won't name. But
It was smoke in the name?
Spawn 2016.
Smoke is the name, but I won't say who makes it. So, but I'll try other smoked beers. What were you just saying, Nick? I apologize.
Oh, Jester King. Spawn 2016 was the beer that they brought in bottles that people went nuts over. Duck Duck Goes from Lost Abbey. People were excited about that.
I will say, speaking of unique beers to be brought, so Half Acre brought their barrel-aged Benthic there, which I thought was amazing. First time I had that was actually at a bar in Denver during the Great American Beer Fest weekend called Tap and Handle, or Fort Collins, I should say, is where it was. Thought it was amazing. It was going to be at Beer Hoptacular, and first session officially started at 1. I went there at 1:10 and it was already out. So, I was extremely disappointed I didn't get to try it again. But they did have it at FOBAB. Absolutely amazing. Coconut coffee flavored to it. Goose Island, Clybourne also had Impervious, which I would say is a lot like Bourbon County. I think that won a medal as well. There were so many solid beers. I tried a lot of them.
FOBAB's a wild party, man, because on any given night, if you go to a bar, this is a room full of beers that if you're at a bar, that was the first beer you would get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird from that standpoint.
Yeah, because you have no idea what do you want first, or what do you want to try.
Yeah, I did get to try the chocolate multi-balls too, which is being released on the 19th. And
Really?
Oh yeah, that's next
very
Saturday.
chocolatey.
Is it really good?
Really good.
That's Tighthead out of Mundelein.
Yeah.
My hometown actually, where I grew up. So, and they have a party next Saturday at noon. And we're gonna hit up there and get some bottles of that.
Damn straight. Shout out to Travis Kick up there.
Another one. I mean, there's a lot of the beers, I should say, they weren't bottled, or you haven't seen them bottled, but they're about to be bottled.
Yeah.
So, like Lake Effect, they had their Super Shake there as well. I thought that was pretty solid. If you haven't, I absolutely love the label for it. It looks like a collaboration between Lake Effect and Superdog.
Yeah. That's a cool label.
Excellent.
So when that comes out, I'm going to try to get some of that. But
Yeah, you were talking about Benthic. I saw the Spiteful Guys. The Spiteful Guys and Temperance, Claudia from Temperance. And the first thing that the Spiteful Guys said was, dude, you have to go try this Benthic. You got to go try half.
yeah, and it really wasn't too bad of a line over there. It was... it's a solid beer. Half Acre is going to be bottling it. Date release to be determined. They haven't announced it. The two big releases that they've done so far in the past month or so are going to be Orin and Benthic. So
The Orin's pretty good. It's unique. I think compared to what style is this?
So it's just a straight bourbon barrel brown ale. Okay. So I wanted to open them with the Batch 1000s because Batch 1000 also is a bourbon barrel brown ale, but
which is completely different.
The Markland though has cacao and vanilla, and the Helluland has orange zest.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Orin is just straight up.
Straight up, nothing added to
Yeah.
it other than just bourbon barrel.
Yeah.
And the bourbon is present in the batch 1000 for sure, but that's the overpowering flavor in this, and it's a totally different flavor. It's still a really good beer. I do prefer the Revolution ones because with the extra adjuncts.
Yeah, and I heard. So they on the batch 1000 release party, they also had a chili version. I think a raspberry, a nitro, and a coffee.
This was at the Kedzie Tap Room?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So a couple other things coming up. Obviously, the month of November, Goose Island's always big, and they have 2 events this year. They got their Proprietors Day, which is the week before Black Friday, right?
Yep.
And then their Black Friday. Is there a specific name for the Black Friday party this year, or just Black Friday?
Just Black Friday. Yeah.
So both of those are coming up.
We'll be at the 4 p.m. session on Black Friday.
Yep. So Nick, you going to one of them or both of them?
I don't know.
No idea.
We'll see. I don't
Nick
know.
will probably show up at both of them at some point. So if you see him, say hi. That tends to be how he operates. He just happens to show up.
Beer people are like last minute people. You know?
Well, you did get to try the 2016. You got to try the full
Yeah, you tried
2016
everything.
lineup though already.
I tried
So
the full flight. I was this was at Goose Fulton, the production facility.
yeah.
Yeah, during the World Series, which was actually kind of
Oh,
cool.
fantastic.
You know, so
Nice.
that wasn't bad at all. I was pretty excited about that. Those Cubbies broke the longest drought in American sports history, 108
I thought
fucking
we weren't going
years.
to talk about the Cubs.
I got to wear my Bartman shirt again, which
yeah.
I've not been able to wear this since 2003.
Yeah.
So
When are we going to start getting some Cubs themed beers? I'm sure Chicago Bears are working on that.
after Beer Hoptacular, we went over to Lagunitas, and I will say I had another one of my favorite beers there. Their Willet Whiskey Barrel Aged Imperial Stout.
Oh yeah, that's like
Absolutely amazing. Bar over by my house here, Countryside Saloon, that I frequent, has had it, and I think I am the only one drinking it. But it is absolutely delicious. But they have a beer called W, the Wind Flag.
yeah.
So that's already been out. There's been a few.
yeah. There was always Cubby Blue at the old
Yeah.
rest in peace, the old Goose Island Wrigleyville location, and
Which is totally torn down now.
yeah, it's part of the whole rehab. So they want to shut down the whole block as far as like just foot traffic, no cars, and then they're putting like a hotel, and then so the Cubbies apparently own those 3 spaces, and they're renting them out.
Because I just drove by it yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
Friday night actually, and it was completely torn down.
Yeah, it's changing. But as a Sox fan, I really hope the Cubs get a better showing as far as beers than the Big Hurt.
Oh God, I remember that release.
So
of
I'm really
Minis.
hoping the best for you guys here.
Breaks my
I think
heart
we already got
to
that
see
beat.
that. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
they're making that beer up in fucking Wisconsin somewhere.
Is it still being made?
Yeah,
They shut
It's-
down his. That's all. Let's talk
It's
about
rough,
the
man.
Cubs
He's the
today,
greatest
all right?
White Sox of all time, and he makes this for
Oh,
a beer.
I
I'm
have-
like, shame on you.
I'm a Cubs fan. I love Frank Thomas. I love, growing up, Robin Ventura was one of my favorite players. I know he's probably not as liked now, but Carlton Fisk and Robin Ventura, 2 of my favorite players growing up. But that's not beer related, so let's move. Yeah, like you said, let's move on.
So do we have any questions, Dan?
So, before we get to questions, just want to remind everybody to, again, check out all of our Social Avenue venues. So, Facebook, like us on Facebook if you don't. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes to our podcast that you're actually watching or listening to right now. And those are, again, that's Chicago Beer Geeks. Search on iTunes. Nick does our Twitter. It's Shy Beer Geeks. So reach out to him on Twitter. Or
Actually, Nick does a
Yeah.
very good job on the Twitter.
Does a great
Give him
job.
Props for that.
Awesome job on the Twitter, and when you see the Facebook links, though, are not Nick usually on Twitter.
yeah, so all the Facebook stuff goes to Twitter at some point. You can tell that usually because it's got links or shortened or some kind of weird stuff.
Allie's not here today, but
Allie's been doing
she's been kicking ass.
the Instagram. Occasionally I do the Instagram as well, but it's definitely picked up since we had her jump on board. And again, she's not here today unless Bob all of a sudden transforms into her somehow. But Bob is filling in for Allie today. Bob, we have actually given access to Bob to do put events in the calendar. So Bob has been putting some events in the calendar, as well as Nick does a really good job of that as well. So in our iPhone app, which hopefully will get updated sometime soon, because
A couple of years, hasn't it?
yeah, it's been a couple of years. I've been talking to our developer because it doesn't really load on the first time loading
Yeah.
sometimes, so you just close it and load it again.
This isn't really a highly revenue generating.
No, none of this
So.
is revenue generating. So
It's hard to get that stuff fixed.
we do it for the beer at this point. So yeah, all of those, and excuse me, we do reach out on Facebook, Twitter, and all these things and say, hey, we're going to shoot a podcast. Send us some questions if you want questions answered. I'm going to create an email address, so if you want to ask us anything, it doesn't even matter what it is, and you'll figure that out in a second here when I tell you the question we got. It doesn't matter what the heck it is, we'll try to answer it, or we might skip it if it's really horrendous. We can't say it on the podcast.
I like this one.
This one's good. But going to set up an email address. Feel free to email us at podcast@chicagobeergeeks.com. So again, that's podcast@chicagobeergeeks.com. Feel free to reach out to us, ask us anything, and we'll get it answered in the podcast that we shoot. Might not be for a little while, because we do this about once a month or so, it seems. But today we have a question from Jerry Curls. So I don't know if that's your real name, but if it is,
Jerry.
That's pretty awesome. His question is, if the moon were made of barbecue spare ribs, would you eat it? Mez.
Hell yeah.
Bob?
Absolutely.
Nick?
I got issue with bones, man. I'm a chicken tender guy. If chicken comes on the bone or anything comes on the bone, I'm out.
I might have to say just no, just because I know the moon being gone would really affect our Earth. So
So
it might be messed up.
Deliciously detrimental.
Dan,
Maybe just eat some of it.
barbecue spare ribs.
Maybe not the whole thing.
Barbecue
Just
spare
enough
ribs.
to not really affect the tides too much.
Oh, just get a crescent moon. Eat it a little bit.
Come on, let's be logical about
Yeah, it's a crescent moon every so often, you know. It's
So-
like the moon just disappears.
About to open up another one since it looks like some of the cups are getting empty. And just as a shout out, I decided to open the Unani 2015 Airing of Grievances. It's their Imperial Stout.
Oh, fantastic.
And the big reason I am opening this, which date is to be announced, they are moving to Niles, my hometown. They're opening up a new tap room. So they are closing up in Chicago, moving out to the suburbs here. It's actually not my hometown. Chicago's my hometown, but I live in Niles now.
Yeah, close enough.
So I
Great
wanted
marketing
to.
because they're in a strip mall now, and the sign just says brewery.
They make some solid beers though. So
It's all about the intrigue, Dan.
Yeah.
it's all about Chicago beer. And
People don't know what it is. You're just going to some random brewery until you get in there and figure out what it is. Maybe they'll change the sign.
All right, so right after the airing of grievances, we're going to have Feats of Strengths here. We're going to have this as a...
Festivus is coming up, so
Me and you, Bob. Come on. Companies versus size.
There's a lot of. I should say there's a lot of good beers coming out this month.
there's always good beers coming out.
Yeah, November is probably one of the most solid beer months.
Start of the holidays.
Yeah. Beguile's got their Imperial pajamas coming up, this Friday, I believe. Barrel-aged Imperial pajamas.
Yes, flannel pajamas are the barrel-aged version.
Yeah.
So on that note, let's take a quick sip so we can let our viewers know our listeners know what this tastes like, at least in our opinion, and then we'll call it.
What does unani mean?
1 year.
Ooh.
Interesting. A little lighter of a stout, especially for a Russian.
It's like 10.6%, so it's not going to be as
the mouthfeel and the thickness though is not
it's
what
a
I
good dry,
expect
crisp
out
finish
of
almost.
Russian Imperial. Nick,
I'm a big fan of these kind of beers as opposed to like the cloying, heavier beer stouts.
Yeah.
You know.
This is true to, I think, the Imperial Stout style. It is. There's nothing else added to it, and I mean they're known for their sours. So to the fact that they're
doing a Russian Imperial.
I have one of their sours right behind us, but to be known for sours and still do such a solid representation of an Imperial Stout, I think is very
It's
well
pretty
done.
tasty.
Yeah.
And you signed up. They got a club that you signed up for.
Yes, they have. I kind of regret I only did the basic membership, so I don't get to go to the grand opening. But they have 2 membership levels, and I know they post one of the first beers that they're going to release is going to be a brown ale aged in Pinot Noir barrels, or sour brown aged in Pinot Noir barrels, and it's. You don't see too many people. You haven't seen too many people doing that regularly outside of Russian River. So I'm really looking forward to some what they offer in the membership this year.
Cool. Maybe next podcast we'll find out.
Yeah.
So, cheers. Thanks for watching again. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chicago Beer Geeks. And as always, we post everything on Twitter and Facebook. So those are the two biggest places you can find us.
Cilantro.
Cheers.
Did he say cilantro?
All right. Thanks, just right. Come on, Bob. You and me.